Okay. Students, before I start with the lecture, your second experiment for the subject will be evaluate postfix expression program. Okay. So title for the experiment second one will be evaluation of postfix expression. And then you have to implement that program that we have already seen in this week. So that will be your second experiment. I already told you how you have to maintain your journal. So please start writing when you get the time. At the end of the month, I will ask you to submit a PDF copy of your experiments of what we have done till the end of the month. So please start writing. Okay. And I hope you know that on starting from 12th, 13th, 14th are your ITs, your internal tests. So paper will be posted to you and then you have to submit your paper. Instructions for the IT is put on the website, so you can go through those instructions. Okay. So basically, in summary, I will just tell you that your IT will be of 1 hour. You will get 1 hour to answer the paper, and you will get 1 hour to upload the paper. Because of net connectivity, some of you may face issues in uploading. So you're actually getting 1 hour to upload. Within that time limit, you should be able to upload your paper. Okay. And all the instructions basically are mentioned in that on the college website. You can go through it. Okay. So with these two announcements, I'll start with my lecture. I hope you have managed to write down the algorithm. Okay, because that algorithm we are going to now use for the lecture. Keep your notebook ready because as I'm solving it on the screen, you can also write it down quickly on your notebooks. So basically we are going to see how to convert this expression into postfix form. So it's an infix expression and we are going to convert this infix expression to postfix, okay, using stacks. So in your exams, you can get 3 questions on this. One question will be could be to write the algorithm. Second one, you could be given an expression like this and you could be told to solve and show how step by step it gets solved. And the third one could be you could be told to write an program. So today I'm going to show you how to solve, and at the afterwards I'm also going to solve the program based on the algorithm. Please gather the idea how we are going to convert an algorithm into our program. Okay, because now in the first unit I'm showing you the programs, but from second unit onwards I'll be just teaching you the algorithms. You have to be able to write the programs. So I'll show you how to convert this algorithm also into the form of a program, but then please start reading or practicing how to do it on your own. So write down this question on your notebooks. Convert a plus b minus c infix expression into postfix expression using stacks. Once you have written, then just draw this table onto your notebooks. Just draw the first row. So you're going to have 5 columns. You're going to have 5 columns, and the names of the columns are as you can see in this slide. Just write down the names of the columns. Don't write anything else. I'll show you step by step how it is to be done. So in the exams, if you get to solve using this algorithm, then you will have to solve something like this. Okay. So basically you're going to convert this expression. I'll just write here a plus b minus c. We're going to convert this expression which is in infix form to postfix. So if you have drawn this table on your notebooks, okay, I'll go step by step. So step 1, you start reading your expression. So you read your expression from left to right. So you first read this first expression, first letter. Okay. So it is A. Now in your algorithm, you check. So this what we are doing now here is step 1. You examine the next element of your input. So we are examining the first element of the input, and that is A. So I've written A here. Okay. Then from step 2 to step 5, you can perform any one of them. Okay. You cannot perform all of them. You can perform only one of them, whichever is applicable. And once you have performed one of those steps from step 2 to step 5, you have to go to step 6. And if step 6 is true, you will go back to step 1. Otherwise, if step 6 is no longer true, you will go to step 7. And after you perform step 7, you get the output. So basically, this is what was explained to you in the video yesterday. Okay. So if you have watched the video, you will know what I am talking. So now we go to step 2 and check if that step 2 is applicable here. So when you check, A is an operand and step 2 deals with an operand. So what the step 2 says, if it is an operand, output it. Okay. So since now this represents the input, this column. Okay. So we are reading this from our input, one element at a time. So once I read this, I see that it's an operand. I put this into my output. Okay. And here I just write a remark that it is step 2. Then the second step, I read my next. After doing the step 2, I go to step 6. When I go to step 6, it says if there is more input, go to step 1. So when I go to the step 1, it says examine the next element. So now I examine the next element, that is plus. So I write down here plus. Okay. Now I see which step is applicable for operator. So if you check your algorithm, step 4 is applicable for an operator. Okay. Step 4 is the step to be done for an operator. Within step 4, there are 4 sub-steps. So you have to see which sub-step has to be done. So when you check, step 4.1 says if stack is empty. Okay. Here you check stack is empty. So it is true. If stack is empty, what you do with the operator? You take that operator and push it onto the stack. So I pushed plus onto the stack. So step 4.1. Okay. So I pushed plus onto the stack. So now this plus is my topmost element, top of the stack. Since I've done that, I write here step 4.1. The previous step, whatever you had written in the output, copy it back here. So you copy from the previous step, whatever was there written in the output. So A is written back as it is. Plus is on the stack and A is in the output. Okay. So once you do step 4.1, you go to step 6. When you go to step 6, you check if there is more input. So if there is more input, you go back to step 1. Step 1 says examine the next element in the input. So next element is B. So you check B. B is an operand. So what is the step for an operand? Step 2. So what step 2 says? If it is an operand, put it in the output. So you copy A from the previous step and you put B from this step. So you get in the output now you get A, B. Okay. Copy the stack contents from the previous step. So in the previous step, plus was there on the stack. So you copy it as it is. So at the end of the third step, you will have plus on the stack, AB in the output. Clear? Any doubts till here? Anyone is having any doubts what I have done till now? Okay, I'll continue. Next. So after you do that step 2, you have to go back to step 6. So when you go to step 6, it says if there is more input, go to step 1. So you go to the step 1. Step 1 says examine the next element in the input. Now we are checking for this next element, that is minus. We are checking for minus. Now minus is an operator. So which step is applicable for it? Step 4. Okay, step 4 deals with operator. So now again in step 4 you have to find out which substep you have to perform. So when you check step 4.1, step 4.1 says if stack is empty, but when you check the stack is not empty, plus is there on the stack. Okay, it's no longer empty, so you cannot do step 4.1. Goes to step 4.2. Step 4.2 says if top of the stack is an opening parenthesis, top of the stack now when you check is plus, it's not opening parenthesis, so you cannot do step 4.2. Go to step 4.3. Okay, so when you go to step 4.3, you check the priority. This is your incoming operator, minus, and plus is your top of the stack. Check the priorities between this. Okay, between minus and plus. So these priorities have already been told to you that dollar has the highest priority, then division and multiplication have the next highest priority, followed by plus and minus. Since we are converting to postfix, opening parentheses and closing parentheses are not required in postfix, so they have the lowest priority. Okay, opening parentheses and closing parentheses in postfix have the lowest priority. Please remember that. So now this has the highest exponent, next highest is multiplication, division, and plus minus have the same priority. So now when you check for the priority or precedence, these are having the same priority. Both are having the same priority. So we cannot do step 4.3. Step 4.3 we could have done if this minus sign, had a higher priority than what was there on the top of the stack. If this had a higher priority than top of the stack, okay, then I would have done step 4.3. Okay, by mistake I have written here, so this is not step 4.3. So I cannot perform here step 4.3. Why? Because minus is not having a higher priority than what is there on the top of the stack. Okay, got it? So I will have to go to the next one, that is step 4.4. So what step 4.4 says? Pop the operator from the stack. So I pop this, and I put it in the output. I pop this, put it in the output. Okay, so after popping it and putting it in the output, I get the stack is empty. Okay, so here you have to write that you have done step 4.4. So you have popped topmost element, pop only once. Okay, right now you are going to pop only once because there is only one operator on the stack. So you will pop it, put it in the output. After that you will repeat step 4. Okay, you will repeat step 4. So when you repeat step 4, again it is an operator. You check what step can you apply here. Now right now what is the contents of the stack? Stack is empty. After your pop plus, what is the stack? Stack is empty. So again you start from step 4.1. What step 4.1 says? If stack is empty, push the operator onto the stack. So which is the operator that you're going to push onto the stack? Whatever is there in the input. stack is empty. You can see here stack is empty. So you push the operator onto the stack. So minus goes onto the stack. So this is now your top of the stack. Clear? Are you clear with this step? Does anyone want me to repeat this fourth step? Are you clear? Fourth step. Any doubts? Okay. So basically here I have shown you how the fourth step is actually comprising of two steps. In the exams, okay, in the exams, you need not show this step if you have understood what is being done. Okay, you need not show this. You can directly show that incoming operator is minus, then plus goes to the output here. Okay, plus goes to the output, and minus goes to the stack. You can directly show it in one step. But if you find it difficult like that, then you can show two steps like this, how I have shown. Just make a correction in your notebooks as you are solving. Like I told you, this step here is not step 4.3, it is step 4.4. Okay, it is step 4.4. So if you have understood, then I will go. So after you do this step, you go to step 6. So step 6 says, if there is more input, go to step 1. So when you go back to step 1, step 1 says check the next element in the input. So the next element in the input is C. So for C is an operand. The step for an operand is step 2. So what step 2 says? If it is an operand, put it in the output. So I put these steps, I put this element C in the output, and I write down the contents of the stack as it is. Okay. So after you do that, go to step 6. So when you go to step 6, it says if there is more input, but there is no more input, we have reached the end of the input. Okay. So if there was more input, you would have gone to step 1, but since there is no input, you go to step 7. When you go to step 7, what it says, if there is no more input, pop the remaining operators from the stack. Pop these operators from the stack and put those operators in the output. So you pop this and put it in the stack. You have to keep doing this step 7 till there are operators in the stack. So if there were many operators in the stack, you would have popped the topmost element, put it in the stack. Then pop the next element from the stack, put it in the stack. So you would have kept doing this till stack does not become empty. Please remember, you have to repeat this step 7 till stack does not become empty. So you have to keep popping from the stack and putting it in the output till stack is not empty. The moment stack becomes empty, you have to stop with step 7, and that is your output. Now in this case, there was only one operator on the stack, so I do pop only once. So the moment I pop this, I pop it and I add it to the output, my stack is empty. So I stop with step 7. If there were many operators on the stack, I would have continued with step 7. Got it? So this is how we convert an infix expression to postfix using stacks. So any doubts in any of these steps? This is the way you will have to solve. Suppose you get it for your exams or for your ITs. So any doubts here? Any doubts, students? Have you all understood? Um, yes, Athena, it is compulsory to write that. Okay, the step column. If you are in a hurry, you may skip it. Okay, when you are writing the step column, you may have to just draw this. You just draw this flow chart before you quickly draw this flow chart in your IT, because when you mention the steps, it's not like it's a standard steps, no? So you can quickly mention this flow chart, draw it quickly. Just mention the step 1 is scanning the expression from left to right. Step 2 is operand. Step 3 is opening parenthesis. Step 4 is operator. Step 5 is closing parenthesis. Step 6 deals with input. If there is more input, then you go back to step 1. If there is no more input, you go to the step 7. Pop all the remaining operators. Draw this flowchart quickly, and then you can start solving in your exams this. In case you are not having time, no need to draw this flowchart. Just solve directly this, okay, and write down the step numbers. No marks will be cut if you don't draw this flowchart. But if you have time, it's better to draw it quickly, rough, not with pencil and rulers and just draw it rough, freehand. So any doubts here, students? Okay, if you feel you have understood, then I would want you all to solve this expression on your own. Okay, solve this using that same tabular concept that I have shown you. Okay, so you're going to draw the 5 columns and you're going to solve this expression. Convert the following infix expression, copy this expression into postfix form using stacks and start solving. In order to know if you have solved correctly, you can first solve it using your maths, the rules of maths, get the answer. And once you have got the answer, you can solve it using stacks. And you must get the same answer what you got in maths. Otherwise, you have done something wrong. So can you solve this? Solve it on your notebooks. Remember the priority of the operators as you are solving. Highest priority is for the exponent. Next highest is multiply and divide. And the lowest priority is plus and minus. And opening parentheses and closing parentheses are not considered at all in postfix. So they are to be discarded. Okay, I'll give you around 5 minutes, then I will solve it. When do we have to draw stacks? Ria, this time we are solving stacks, means we have drawn the stack like this in a horizontal fashion. Okay, we are not showing the stack in the vertical way that we used to always draw. So every time we used to learn stacks, we were drawing stack like this something, and we are showing it like this. Okay, instead of showing it like that, now this time the stack has been shown like this in the horizontal format. So this is your plus, and this is currently your top of the stack. Similarly here, it just been shown in horizontal format. Okay, so this is now your top of the stack. If something else would get added, then that would have been your top of the stack, like that. So we are just showing it in horizontal format. Okay. Yes, yes. I have taken this from your textbook. Sorry, I have taken this table. This solved like this in your textbook. Okay. So I've taken this from your textbook. So we'll solve it like this only. So when you're solving this problem, you use that same way. Okay. So use it horizontally. If you're not comfortable, you can draw it vertically, no problem. But use the whatever the stack. Use the properties of the stack. The last element to be inserted is the first element to be outputted. Last in first out property should be satisfied. Whatever way you are drawing the stack. So this tabular form is basically from your textbook. It has been solved in your textbook like this. Yeah, Ruban and Siddhant, that is the answer. Okay. Ritika, Yash, all those Athena. Yeah, that is the answer. But you have to get that answer using stacks. So I'll solve it quickly now. Just check if you have done it correctly. Okay. So we start reading your expression from left to right. I'll do it now very quickly. Okay. So you read this first one. It's an opening parenthesis. The step for the opening parenthesis is third step. Third step says if it's an opening parenthesis, push it onto the stack. So I pushed it onto the stack here. Okay. Next, I read A. A is an operand. So operand, you have to put it in the output. Copy the stack as it is. Okay. Next you read is plus. For plus you have to do step 4. Okay. When you do step 4, you have to check which of the sub steps of step 4 you will do. So if stack is empty, you would have done step 4.1, but stack is not empty. So go check the step 4.2. What step 4.2 says, if top of the stack is opening parenthesis, push operator on the stack. So when you check the top of the stack is opening parenthesis. So you push this operator onto the stack. So when you push it, plus is the top of the stack. Okay, I highlighted plus as the top of the stack. Okay, I just made it red. In your notebooks, you can highlight it like this, that it is the top of the stack. So in your notebooks, you can highlight it like this, that it is the top of the stack by just putting one simple arrow on top of it. So you can say that this is the top of the stack. So plus is the top of the stack. Okay. So you can highlight it like that. Copy the output as it is. Some of you while solving may have written it like this. You may have written opening bracket and you may have written plus later. So to highlight that plus is the top of the stack, just put one arrow on top. Okay. Now this is done in your textbook like this, so I've just done it according to your textbook. Okay. If you do it like this also is okay, but just make sure that you highlight that plus is your top of the stack by putting one arrow on top. Okay. In my case, I've highlighted by putting a different color, but you will not be able to do it, and you're not supposed to use red color in your exam papers. So you avoid putting color, just put one arrow on top. Okay. Any doubts here till here? Till this third step? Anyone has any doubt? Okay. If you have any doubt, then you can type it in the chat. Next, we read the next element. Next element that we read is B. Now for B, we apply step 2. Step 2 says it's an operand, put it in the output. So I put it in the output. So I get my output as currently as A and B. I copy the stack contents as it is. So I had on my stack plus and opening parenthesis. So I copy them as it is. And I read my next. So next one is a closing parenthesis. So for closing parenthesis, you are going to apply step 5. What it says? Step 5 says pop the operators from the stack and output it. So currently top of the stack is plus. So I pop it and put it in the output. So when I pop this, what remains? You have to keep popping it till you get an opening parenthesis. So when you pop this, you get an opening parenthesis. Okay. So you would pop all the operators. If there were many operators here, if there were many operators, say for example, I didn't have only plus. Say I had more operators here. Say I had minus. Just for example, I'm saying I had more operators. So when I get closing parenthesis, when I get a closing parenthesis, and this was my top of the stack. So what I would have done? I would have popped first multiply. Okay. Then I would have popped minus, put it in the output. Then I have popped plus, put it in the output. I would keep popping all these operators from the stack till I get opening parenthesis. When I get opening parenthesis, I pop the opening parenthesis, but I don't put it in the output. Okay, understood how that step 5 has to be done. You have to pop all the operators till you get an opening parenthesis. Moment you get an opening parenthesis, you pop and discard the opening parenthesis. You pop that opening parenthesis, but don't add it to the output. You have to discard it. Okay, so that is the way you have to do step 5 whenever you have to do it. I hope you understood. So right now we had only one operator. So that one operator I pop, I put it in the output. When I pop this, I get the opening parenthesis. So I pop this also opening parenthesis. So when I pop that, I get the stack as empty. So when I pop this, I get stack as empty, and this one I don't add to the output. I discard it. Clear? Any doubts about the step 5? Anyone? Okay. Then you read your next input. Next input is division sign. So again, for that you will apply step 4.1. It says stack is empty. Yes, stack is empty. Push it onto the stack. Then you get next one, you get opening parenthesis. Opening parenthesis, push on the stack. Okay. That is step. Sorry, this is not step 2. It should be step 3. Okay, just correct it. So it will be step 3. With the opening parenthesis, push it onto the stack. Next you read is C. So you apply step 2. So it's an operand, so put it in the output. Next you read is minus. So when you read minus, okay, you will apply step 4.2. So what step 4.2 says? If top of the stack is an opening parenthesis, yes, top of the stack is an opening parenthesis, push the operator onto the stack. So since top of the stack was opening parenthesis, you push that operator onto the stack. So you will get something like this. Okay. Next you read the operand and you get D. So D you will put in the output. That is step 2. Then last you read is closing parenthesis. So closing parenthesis I just told you, that is step 5. What you will do? You will pop this operator. You will pop this operator, put it in the output. So you'll keep popping till you get a opening parenthesis. So when you pop this minus and you add it to the output, you get an opening parenthesis. So you will pop this opening parenthesis and discard it. Okay. So what remains on your stack is only the division sign. So you will write the division sign here. Division sign does not get popped. Okay. Because you have to keep popping only till you get an opening parenthesis. So I got an opening parenthesis. Till there I will pop. Division sign does not get popped. So these two get popped. Division sign you write as it is. So when you get to that closing parenthesis, you have reached the end of the input. So when you reach end of the input, you will go to step 7. Okay. When you go to step 7, again by mistake I think I have written here step 5. So this is step 7. You go to step 7, it says pop the remaining operators from the stack. So when you pop the remaining operators from the stack, what is there on your stack? Only division. Pop the remaining operators from the stack and put it in the output. So when you pop and put it in the output, you will get like this. When stack becomes empty, this is your output. So you get the output as AB plus CD minus division. Okay. So when you finish solving on your notebooks, you have to write, okay, you have to write one line. The postfix expression is, and you have to copy this, what you have got in the postfix. So AB plus CD minus division. That is your postfix expression. Clear? Any doubts about how it is to be solved? Yes, yes, Rohan. The remark column is necessary. So has everyone understood how it is to be done? So this is the way you have to solve your expression if you get it for your exams. Now read your question properly. Okay. Sometimes you may just get a question like this. Convert infix expression. Some expression will be given to convert it to postfix form. They may not tell you to use text. So that time you are free to use maths. You can just use your maths and solve it directly. Okay. Look at the number of marks. So sometimes, most of the time, those marks will be like around 4 marks or 2 marks and all. At that time you can directly solve using your maths. If you are told specifically that you have to convert infix to postfix using stacks, then you have to apply this algorithm that we have just done. Okay. That time if you use maths, you will not get marks. But when you get a question, just convert an infix expression to postfix, and you are not told whether to use stacks or to use maths, you can use any, and you will get your marks. Clear? Okay. So if you have understood how it is to be solved, how the algorithm works, let's quickly go to the program. Okay. So I'll show you the program quickly. I already shared the program on your classroom, so you can write it down later in your notebooks, or if you have a printer, you can print it out. So basically, again, we are declaring a stack here. Okay. I've declared a stack as a structure. Okay. Maximum size of the stack I have defined as 50. So this time I'm calling the stack as the name of the stack is given as data. Okay. And I given the size of the stack as 50. Can anyone tell me why I'm using this keyword here? Does anyone know what is the meaning of this keyword here? Okay, why is this type def keyword used? Does anyone know why we are using it? Okay, I'll just tell you then without wasting time. If I would not put this keyword here, okay, then what would happen is, as you can see, I've declared one variable here, okay, one variable here. Whenever I'm declaring a variable, I would have to use this. I would have to use this keyword here like this. So for example, here I would have to put this keyword here like this struct stack. Okay, here I would have to put this keyword struct. Otherwise, I would have got an error. Everywhere I would have to put this keyword as struct. Otherwise, I would have got an error. To avoid putting that keyword struct, I have put this type there. Okay, just for that reason. Otherwise, you can try it later when you're executing this program on your, at home on your Visual Studio. You can try it. Remove this word. Okay, if you remove this word and you try to run the program, you will get errors. You will have to add this word struct everywhere this variable has been defined. So everywhere here also. Okay. So everywhere where this I have defined this, you will have to put the keyword as struct. Okay. So to avoid putting that, I'll just put this word. I put that word type there. Basically here I have declared my stack. Okay. I declared my stack. So these are the data members. The stack name is the array data. So I'm going to have this data array, okay, of size 50. The size is 50. And top will be my top of the stack pointer. Okay. Now, since these are data members, like I have told you previously, data members need to be referenced using a variable. So the variable for that has been defined is this variable. That is, the variable name also is stack. I'm going to use this variable to refer to this data members. The data members are data and top. Okay. Then I've declared all these are my function prototypes. All these functions are defined later. Okay. I'll quickly show you all these functions. So the first function initialize is my top of the stack equal to -1. Okay. Now, like I told you, this top is a member of the structure. So if I want to refer to it, I want to make it -1. I have to use a variable. Okay. The variable that I'm using here, I'll show you later what happens here. Okay. How this S comes, why it's a pointer. So right now you just look at this part, it is top equal to -1. Then I have another variable function empty. So it will check if top of the stack is equal to -1, it will return the value as 1. Otherwise, it will return the value as 0. So this is just a way of, instead of putting else like this, I have said like I have not put this else. If this condition is not true, that means it will always return the value as 0. Okay, so there is no need of putting else. You could have put else, but there is no need. So what it means is, if this condition is true, then this line is executed. Okay. Otherwise, this line is executed. Okay. So these are the conditions which you have already learned in this program when we were studying stacks using arrays. So I'm just referring to them. So if the stack is full, then I will be returning the value as 1, other returning the value as 0. This is how push and pop we have already learned this. If we are pushing, we increment the value of top by 1, and after you increment the value of top, we enter the data. So the data is stored in this variable x. While popping, what we do? we remove the value what is there at top and we put it in X. Decrement the value of top and we return this value of X. Okay. This function here will return the value whatever is present at the top of the stack. Whatever value is present at the top of the stack will be returned by this function top. This function here precedence is representing the table that we have studied. So the table that we have told you, dollar is having the highest, then multiply and divide, then plus and minus, and opening and closing have the lowest priority. So this is having highest priority, this is having the lowest priority. So you can see here, okay, if we are having an opening parenthesis, the value for it is 0, lowest, okay. Plus and minus is having the value as 1. I am returning the value as 1. Multiply and divide and modulus. Modulus mostly we don't use, but if we use, then the value of that will be 2. Okay. And if it is any other value, then we will, for example, if it is dollar, then the value of it will be 3. If you wanted here, you could have written if X is dollar, you could have written like that, but it means the same thing. If X is dollar, return 3. Otherwise, so if you don't write it also, it means the same thing. But if you are comfortable writing it, you can write. It's up to you. Okay. Now you can see I have not put closing parenthesis. Can anyone tell me why I have not put closing parenthesis here? Why I have not put or sign here and put X equal to closing parenthesis? Why I have not put like this? Can anyone tell? Why I am not saying? See here, when I told you plus and minus are having same priority. Okay, so I put here X equal to plus or X equal to minus. Then I'm returning the value as 1. So it's the same way. Why I'm not doing like that here? Can anyone tell? If X equal to open or X equal to close, return 0. Why I'm not written like that? Anyone tell me? Okay, it's because of your step 5 of your algorithm. What your step 5 says? Step 5, if you see, we never add our closing parenthesis. We never add the closing parenthesis to the output, or we never add the closing parenthesis to the stack. Okay, we just check if the closing parenthesis is encountered. The closing parenthesis is encountered in the input. What we do? We pop everything that is present on the stack till we find a opening parenthesis. Okay, and then we discard the opening parenthesis. So we never do anything with the closing parenthesis. So that's why it's not needed. Okay, if you wanted, you could have put a or sign here and put the closing parenthesis, but it will never be encountered. So basically this function here is representing this table that we have discussed previously. Okay, so have you understood how it is done? Any doubts here in any of these lines? Just go through it. I'll just show you slowly. Okay, I'll not be repeating these functions again when I'm doing the main program. So can you just go through these lines and mention if you're in the chat if you're finding any difficulty in any of the lines? You can just note down and keep that this init will be doing initialization of top. Just write down in your notebooks and keep. So when I'm doing the program, you will understand. This empty will be checking if stack is empty. Full will be checking if stack is full. Push does the normal push, increment top, insert the value at the top. Pop will be extracting the data by decrementing top. And this top function will return the value which is there present at the top of the stack. Precedence function is used to implement the priority of the operators. Okay, so any doubts? I'll just look at the chat. Anyone is having anything? Closing parenthesis means that elements get popped. Yeah, Kaiser. The elements get popped, meaning the operators that are stored on the stack will get popped. Why isn't the top initialized in the structure definition? Where you mean in the structure definition? Meaning in the main program? Do you mean in the main program? Vibhuti, do you mean near type def? Near type def. Here, I cannot initialize inside here. Here I cannot initialize. Okay, I cannot initialize here inside the structure. If I wanted to initialize, I would have to write somewhere here. I would have to use that variable stack like this, stack dot top equal to -1. I could have done like this. I could have done like that. Here I could have initialized. Okay, but here I cannot do. This is not allowed. This I cannot initialize like this. This is wrong. Okay, this is not allowed in structures. Once you have defined your structure, then you can do. You could have done like this. Okay, you could have done like that. This you could have done. So it's just done for the program like this. There's no specific reason. Okay, so I'm just showing you the different ways it could be done. This is not the only way of doing the program. Okay, but you could have initialized in a separate line here. You could have said here. You could have declared it as a global. This would have become like a global. This spelling of stack is come wrong, but this stack dot top equal to -1. Here you could have defined. So you could have used this variable. This is a variable. Use this variable to access this. So you would have accessed it like that. Okay. Clear? Any other questions? Okay. So I'll quickly go through that program. Okay. The program is exact implementation of that algorithm we have just studied. Okay. So always program execution starts with your main program. So here we are having two arrays. So this infix array will be storing my input and postfix array will be storing my output. So basically if you look at this table here, infix array means this column here. Okay, this column. This will be my infix array and postfix array will be this output array. Okay, and stack, the stack that we had, this stack is defined by using this here structure, this array data. So this stack that we had here is data. Okay, so the array for that will be data. For this will be the infix. The array for this will be infix. And for the output, the array will be postfix. Okay. So I'm just relating to you what is happening in this table with the program so that you understand. Okay, and we'll solve this same expression in that program so that you understand exactly what happened in this. Okay, I'll solve one expression. The second one you can see similarly. You can try it later, trace it out and see. So basically now you will be told to enter the expression. So you're going to enter the expression. So this expression will be stored in one array. So that array, like I told you, will be a infix array. The size of the array is 30. Okay. So you're going to enter a valid infix expression. If you enter invalid infix expression, you will not get the proper output. I'll take the same example, a plus b minus c. So when you take this, you will get here a plus b minus c. And it will be automatically terminated with a null character. Okay, why? Because this array is the character array. So always automatically C adds this to your output. So this will be start from index 0, then it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, this will be 5. And this array is still 30, but the rest of this we are not using. Okay. Then I call this function infix to postfix. I pass this input that I taken. Okay, if you see here, I used a new way of taking input. So instead of scanf, I use this inbuilt function of C called gets. So I don't know if you have used it before, but that is another way of taking inputs. You could have used scanf also. So I'm just showing you using gets. Okay, you could have used scanf, no problem. So I pass this array I pass this array to the function, the input array. Similarly, I pass this output array, that is postfix. So again, this is my infix array. I'll just write here in. Then similarly, I'm having a postfix array, one more array. This will be used to store my output. Okay. So when I call this function, the control is transferred to the function infix to postfix. So control gets transferred here to this function. Okay. Then I've declared again some variables here. Okay. I've declared one more variable of this structure. So remember, like I told you, if this word typedef was not there, then I would have to put here the keyword as struct. But since typedef is there, I don't need to put the keyword as struct. Okay. So I declared one variable s of that structure. So whenever I want to access the data members are the stack, one stack that you have defined. The name of the stack we are given as data. The array name is data. Okay. So the name of this array is data. And there's one more variable, top. So these are your structure members. Which are already defined here. Okay, these are your structure members. So this stack has been defined, name has been given as data, and this will be your top. Name of the structure has been called as stack, but your actual stack is going to be implemented using this array data. And whenever you are going to access structure members, I have told you previously, you have to use a variable. So I have declared one variable here, s. So whenever I want to access this members, data or top, I'm going to use this variable s. Then I declare some more local variables, x and token, and integer variables, I and j. I is going to be used for indexing of the infix array. J is going to be used for the indexing of the postfix array. So similarly your postfix is going to have this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So I is going to be used to refer to the indexes of infix array. J is going to be used to refer to the index of postfix array. Okay, that is the meaning of this index of infix and postfix. Then I call this init function. What is init function does? It will initialize the top of the stack equal to -1. Now, like I told you before, top is a data member of the structure, is a member of the structure. So if I want to access this, I have to use a structure variable. So I'm passing the structure variable that I had defined here. I pass it using reference. Okay, I pass using reference. So whenever you pass using reference, so you're passing the address of this variable. So when you pass the address of this variable, The address of the variable can only be stored in one special type of variable known as a pointer. So therefore here I defined my variable here as a pointer, okay, S. So the address can be stored in this pointer, okay. So I use this pointer. Whenever I use pointer, I have to put arrow. I use S arrow top and I set it equal to -1. I make this equal to minus. Okay. So I initialize it to -1. And everywhere once whenever I'm going to refer to the either the data array or I'm going to refer to the top array, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to, from that function, I'm going to pass the address. I'm going to pass the address of this variable. Okay, I'm going to pass the address of this variable that I have defined, like I've done here. Whenever you're passing the address, you're going to pass the address by using the ampersand sign. The ampersand sign tells that you're passing the address of that variable. Okay. Now, can anyone tell me why am I passing the address of this variable? Why I'm not passing this S? Why I'm not doing it like this? Why I'm passing address? Does anyone know why we are passing the address? Okay, since we are already out of time, I'll just tell you. Remember here, S has been declared as a local variable. Okay, so if I would pass it by value, you have studied these concepts of pass by value and pass by reference. So you would pass it by value like this. Whatever you do changes in that function, the changes would not be reflected in the other parts of the program because it is passed by value. The changes would be available only locally. So what we are doing, since the changes should be available everywhere, the value of top should be equal to -1 everywhere in the program. That's why I pass by reference. So when you pass by reference, that is the way you have to pass. Address, whenever you pass, the address has to be received by a pointer variable like this. Okay. And when you are using a pointer variable, you have to use this arrow operator. Okay. So you are using this variable of the structure to access the member and you are setting it equal to -1. Okay. So that's the simplest way I can tell you. So I hope you have understood. Now, this for loop is basically going to implement a step 1 to step 6. So your for loop starts here, and it ends here. Okay, so within that is a step 1 to step 6. So basically this is a step 1. We scan the expression from left to right. So we start with the index 0. So we keep going from left to right till we don't get the null character. Okay. So the null character when you get, you stop the for loop. Till then you will go with the for loop. So I start with I equal to 0. That means I read this first one. I read this first. So whatever is there in the first, that is A, I store it in token or variable token which I have defined here. Then I use the inbuilt C function to check whether the token is a operand or a operator. So if it's an operand, I do step 2. So in step 2 what I do? I add this token. What is there in token? In token A is there. So I add this token to the output. Okay. J has already been set to 0. So I add A here. I increment J value. So J will become equal to 1. I add A and I make J plus plus. So when J becomes plus plus, when J will be at index 1. Clear? So if statement is executed, else is not executed. Okay. If this if is executed, this else part is not executed. So what I do next, I increment I So when I increment I, next I read is plus, this one plus. So I take this plus from here and I put it in token. So now plus is there in token. Again you read this, you check whether it's an operand. So when you check whether it's an operand, this function will tell you that it's not an operand. Okay, so you will go to the else part. You will go to the else part. So in the else part, you will check whether it's an opening parenthesis. Okay, now token is containing plus. So you will check whether it's an opening parenthesis. If it's not an opening parenthesis, you will check whether it's a closing parenthesis. So in the here I have written here opening parenthesis means we are doing step 3. Closing parenthesis means we would have been doing step 5. So step 3 means if it was the opening parenthesis, they would have pushed it onto the stack according to the step 3. You can just keep your algorithm open. So step 3 would have said push the token onto the stack. Otherwise, if it was a closing, then I would have done step 5. So what is step 5? Keep popping from the stack. Okay, keep popping from the stack till you don't get opening parenthesis. So whatever you're popping, you're putting it in this variable x. Whatever you pop, you have to add to the output. So we are doing that here. Okay, that is your step 5. Just read your step 5 in English and see how it is done in programming. So what it is saying, pop from the stack. Okay, this is what it is doing. Pop from the stack and I'm storing in this variable x. How long you are popping? Till you don't get opening parenthesis. Whatever you have popped, what you do? Add it to the output. So you add it to the output. After adding to the output, increase the value of j. Okay. So right now what is there in your token is plus. So you are not even applying this step. This is no longer. This is not true. So I go to this else statement. So when I come to this else statement, okay, check here. So basically this checks for your step 4.4. This part checks for your step 4.4. So you are checking for the precedence. Okay, precedence means priority. You are checking priority of your plus with the priority of the whatever is there on the top of the stack. So when you are checking the priority, your stack should not be empty. So this while loop will execute if both these conditions are true. Priority of the token, so what is there in your token? Plus should be less than what is there on the stack, and also stack should not be empty. So in your case stack is empty, so this condition is not true, so this will not be executed. Okay, so this part will not be executed. So what will be executed in the else part? This lines over there. If this part is not executed, what would be executed is this line here. According to this line stands for 4.1, 4.2 and 4.3. So 4.1, what it says? Plus 4.1 says if stack is empty, push the token onto the stack. So we are pushing the plus onto the stack. So when you are pushing, you know, this we have done many times. Increment the value of the top. So increment the value of the top. So top will be equal to index 0. And wherever top is present, you are going to insert the value of your token. So the token value is plus. So you are going to insert it into the token. So right now your stack will have plus, value of top will be 0. Okay. So basically this is what would have been done. top value would have been incremented, and your token, that is X plus value, would be inserted into the top of the stack. So that is what happens in your push here. So once you do that, increase the value of I. So when you increase the value of I, now you are going to read this. The next, that is B. Now your token will contain B. Check whether it's alphanumeric. Alphanumeric means the token can be either alphabet or it can be a number. Now when you check, the function will tell you it's a alphabet. So what you will do with the alphabet? You will put it in the output and you will increase the value of J. So now value will become equal to 2. First you will put it in the output. What is there in token? In token there is B. So B you put it in the output. Increase the value of J. Okay. So now J value is 2. So if part is executed, don't execute else part. So again go and increment your value of I. So now you will increment, you will read this minus. So your token now, your now token, now you are reading your next value. So your next value that you are reading is this minus. So now your token will be minus. So when you check whether it's alphabet or a number, now this will not be true. So you will go to the else part. You will check whether it's an opening parenthesis. No, minus is not an opening parenthesis. So you will go to the next line here. You will check whether it's a closing parenthesis. It's not a closing parenthesis. So you will go to this else. Okay. You will check now the precedence. You will check the precedence. So priority of the token. Priority of your token is minus. What is there on plus? What is there on the top of the stack? Top of the stack is plus. So you will check the priority of this with the priority of this, whether it is less than or equal to this. So you know, as per the table, the priority of this, okay, we have defined it in the function here. Priority of minus is 1. Priority of plus is also 1. So here what will happen? When you check the priority, it will return here that the priority of this is 1. Then it will return the priority of what is there on the top of the stack is also 1. That means this is less than or equal to this. So this is true. Then you check this AND condition. And what it says? Stack should not be empty. So correct. Stack is not empty. So that means this while statement is true. Okay. So if the while statement is true, you will execute this line. So what do you do? Pop this from the stack. Pop plus from the stack. And once you pop, plus will be added to the output. You will add plus to the output. Increment the value of J. So now J value will become equal to 3. Okay. So once you execute that, stack becomes empty. So when stack becomes empty, you know the while loop stops. When you come out of the while loop, what do? You push what is there in the token. What is there in the token? Minus. You push that token onto the stack. So you push minus onto the stack. Your top will be equal to this. Okay. Once you do that, increment the value of I. So when you increment the value of I, now you are going to read the value of I. So when you read the next value in your array, you're going to read C. So now token will contain C. Check whether it's alphanumeric. It is true, it's alphabet. So this line will be executed. You will put C in the output and increment the value of J. J will become equal to 4. Okay. Then again else part will not be executed. Again increment the value of, when you increment I, now I will be equal to null. Okay. So you could run this for loop till it was not equal to null. Now it is equal to null. So you cannot execute this for loop. So you have to stop. So when you stop with the for loop, okay, so till here was the for loop, you will come here. So what this does, it implements step 7. So what it says, till the stack is not empty, pop from the stack. Whatever you pop from the stack, add it to the output. So here when you check, stack is not empty, so you enter here, pop from the stack. So you put the minus sign in X. Okay, you put a minus sign in X. So that means you have popped from the stack. So this is no longer in the stack. Minus sign is gone to X, and you add X to the out. You add whatever is there in X. X is having minus sign. So you add that minus sign to the output and increment the value of J. So now J value will be equal to 5. Now you again check, is stack empty or not empty? Now stack is empty. So you cannot execute these lines anymore. So you could execute it till it was not empty. So you go to this next line and you terminate your output with a null character. And this is your output, AB plus C minus. Basically this is how your algorithm has been converted to a program. Okay. So any doubts? You can just go through these lines. Okay, go through these lines of code. And if you have any doubts, we can discuss it on Tuesday when we meet for the next class. Okay. This has been all using your concepts that you have studied in C, like your functions, your structures, pointers. That's why I've been emphasizing all this time in the past 1 month when you have started with this lecture that you have to revise those. I put that message also many times onto your group that you need to revise those things. So please revise, otherwise you're going to find this quite tough. Okay, I'm trying my best to tell you as what happens, but if you find any difficulty in any of these lines that we have just done, you can still tell me, and I'll try to solve your difficulty. Okay. So any doubts here? Is it tough for you to understand? Are you getting it? What is happening? Can you just give me some feedback? Are you understanding how the algorithm is being converted into a program? Okay, so I'll share this video recording link with you. Okay, I'll share this video recording. Go through it. You may need now you have heard it for the first time. Okay, write down this program on your notebooks. Write down your program on your notebooks. You have the problem with you. I have written here what happens. Okay, like for example, this stands for step 3. This stands for step 5. Okay, this stands for this. Take these examples that you have solved. Okay, now you have I have already shown you this example. You take this next example, this one. Okay, See how, in which step of the program it is getting solved. Trace it out. Take that program, trace it out. Okay, apply this. First learn this algorithm that we have done. Okay, you are having a Sunday tomorrow. Learn those 7 steps by heart. Then solve this. Okay, first do this much. Learn the algorithm, solve this. Once you are comfortable and you know this, then you take this program, write it down. Then trace this table on this program. Trace it out on this program. See where, which line, what should be happening. Trace this step by step. See where it should be happening. And if you are finding any doubt where any of these lines should be happening in this program, ask me in the next lecture. That is the way you will understand. Okay. Otherwise, now I am telling you everything, so you are finding it may be a little too much for you. Okay. But try to trace it out like the way I just tried to show you. Go through this recording again. You may have to go through to it more than once. Okay, and you should be able to get it. And if you have still any doubt, then you can refer. You can ask me. Okay. So thanks for listening, and I'll share the recording with you. So on Tuesday, we'll meet for the next class.